So, mate, I've got to say, congratulations on this film. It's an absolutely fantastic film. I've had the chance to sit down and watch it. It is so creative and so original. So, I was wondering if you could both tell me where this idea first came about for Marathon.
Sure. We had done well in a bunch of screenwriting competitions or contests, but uh, we got the sense that no one's going to make a $60 million film. It was especially about a jet ski rental company. We had, jet skis flying off of ramps. I mean, that kind of comedy, it seems like no one's putting up, millions of dollars. So our thinking was, let's write something we can actually shoot as opposed to just having these scripts sit on a shelf. In high school, I had this weird thing happen to me where I was cross-country captain and MVP for 2 years completely against my will. I hated running, but I got roped into doing it because my mom was friends with the cross-country coach, and she was a PE teacher, he was a PE teacher, and every excuse I came up with to get out of it, like I don't have running shoes, and the coach bought me shoes, like I couldn't get out of it, so I was running like I was imprisoned in running shoes and running against my will. But you meet these runners and they're just nuts. They're so gung ho and it consumes their entire personality and life, and the outfits are ridiculous. So I mean, we just figured it was the perfect culture to parody in this kind of film, and it's easy to shoot. It's just point the camera, people running for the most part. So between the ease of shooting and this ridiculous, I was a basketball player too, right? So I was just doing it to get in shape for basketball. Like my big thing back then was, all right, I'm not wearing those ridiculous short running shorts. I'm going to wear basketball shorts. But that was me clinging to, I don't know, an identity as a basketball player in this ridiculous running community. I mean, nowadays I jog, but I would never ever do a marathon.
Yeah, I know exactly how you feel about being trapped on a team because when I was at high school, I was one of the footballers and I hated cross country with a passion, but on the cross country course that our school used to go on, one of my friends' houses was actually on that course. So during the trials for the cross country team, we decided to go to my mate's house, play some video games and stuff, but we mistimed when we came out, and we actually joined the race in front of the leaders with the laps that were going on around this area. And
That's great.
We looked out and thought, oh, there's no one there. That's fantastic. We'll be last. We ended up winning. And my mates and I ended up on the cross-country team because we ended up winning. So
That's awesome. That's great.
So tell us a little bit about the filming of this, because I know from when I was at film school and working on a mockumentary, they are extremely difficult to film. What was the shoot like, and how did you change your style to actually film this as well?
Well, luckily in Vegas, we have a lot of very talented improvisers. So we firstly just grabbed as many talented people we could in Vegas, but Keith was also living in LA at the time too, so we were able to go out and see a bunch of UCB classes and shows, and so we were able to pick from both. But I mean, honestly, cast, right? Cast was pretty much 90% of this film.
Yeah, I think we knew going in that we had to cast it right, and you had to get people who could think on their feet, act on their feet. We try to hit 3 jokes a page in the writing process, but we wanted improvisers who could take those 3 and turn it into 5 or 6. In terms of the actual logistics of shooting, it depends on the actor. Some were stronger than others, but for the most part, our goal was to do about 3 to 5 takes with it as written on the page, and then we could usually get it within five takes, and then we open it up.
Yeah,
we would open it up to improv. We talk to the actor. What are they thinking? What are they feeling? How else can we play with this scene? How can we use the environment, the house? A lot of it is being open to ideas. I mean, the arch falling it wasn't even our idea. It was the guy we rented the arch. He actually does this. He lends out equipment to marathon events or to 5Ks, running events, and we start shooting. And the second take, he comes up. His guy's name was Tim, and he comes up to me and goes, Keith, is this a comedy? And I'm like, I hope it is. He goes, well, I can make that arch fall or collapse. And I'm like, Tim, you're hired. And so I think it's just being open to, just ideas from that happened on the set. The doggy door shot came from our assistant camera on the day who goes, "Oh, that's funny. There's a doggy door over there." And then we completely changed the scene to have Ryan locked out of the house and come in through. I'm sorry, the cameraman locked out of the house and come in through the doggy door. So someone, it's just, you got to be open. You have to have it on the page, but after you get it, be open to any and all ideas that come from, and then from not just from Anthony or the co-writers or DPs, but anyone on set.
And the Banana Kiss too was,
our
cinematographer was so embarrassed that she had that joke, and I was like, you guys, it's so funny to see these two have that banana kiss. You have to tell Keith, and of course, it's in the movie now.
It's the Lady and the Tramp, the spaghetti kiss, where they use the banana instead, and they kind of eat and make out at the same time. But yeah, that was Heather Aretas, one of our cinematographers. So I think it's just being open.
Yeah.
Get what you need to get, but then be open.
Yeah, you mentioned about finding the right cast, and that was the key. How did you go about finding that cast? Did you do open auditions, or did you approach people that you already knew that would be perfect for it?
Mix of both. We treated it like it was an NBA draft or like an NFL draft where you have a big draft board and every character, we would slowly add names. So we probably had a list of 8 to 10 names ranked for each actor. Luckily, we ended up with our top picks for almost every single character. Like Anthony said, we were scouting. We wanted to cast a wide net in Las Vegas to make sure we didn't miss anyone locally. And they have all of these fantastic stage comedy shows like Absinthe and Cirque and Blue Man Group, and these are phenomenally talented actors who don't get a lot of chance to do film work. So they jumped at the opportunity, and they're all friends. So we would meet one person, and then that person would say, "Oh, you know who you need to talk to? You need to talk to so and so." And so we had a good idea of who we wanted, and a lot of times we would scout shows without telling anyone we were there, and then we would email the people like, "Hey, we can't guarantee you the role, but I think you should audition for this spot. We've seen you perform. We know you're hilarious. We think it'll be a great fit. So like hint, nudge, nudge. Like you should audition." But yeah, for the Kimia Bepornia role, Emmylou Ponch, Kimia was fantastic. She was in LA. And she took she submitted an audition tape. I emailed her. She replied with an audition tape. It was fantastic. And then she ended up getting cast on an NBC sitcom and still stayed committed to us. Our little, mockumentary, low-budget mockumentary in the desert. As she was great and stayed loyal and committed, even though she's on this network TV show. And then the other person we were going to go with, with Kimia was, our top choice. And then the other top choice was Lauren Holt, who's now on SNL. So we do have like a Lauren Holt audition tape lying around somewhere.
And with so much improv, how many bloopers were there? Because I know that when you do improv, other actors laugh, the crew laugh. How many bloopers are there laying on the floor somewhere to do with Marathon?
A lot, because we went through 60 hours of footage. So we had to condense 60 hours into 82 minutes. So we have probably two other movies of just so much funny stuff that we wish we could get it in, but story-wise, it just didn't work. But we could still. We're going through promos right now, just cutting as many funny scenes that we weren't able to use. So hopefully we can use them there.
I was probably the biggest culprit of that because a lot of the times I'm the off-camera voice, which means I'm in close proximity, and I have speaking roles. So I'm trying to bite my tongue and not laugh, and then still get the question out. The toughest day was. We were in Jimmy Slonina. He plays Ed Clapp, the race director, and we used his actual home office for Ed Clapp's office. But we probably had 8 or 10 people in this tiny home office, and I'm 3 feet from Jimmy, and he's just he's killing me. He's killing me, and I'm just trying to do my best to keep it together. So I'm sure I ruined 2 or 3.
But he even got the sound guy. Like the sound guy just wouldn't stop laughing. I was like, come on,
yeah,
the sound guy.
That's right. When your actors are making the sound guy break, that's always a good sign.
Yeah. So you guys are such talented writers. In the process did you decide that you guys wanted to direct this, and what was that like going into your first project as directors as well?
Well, from our school, we went to UNLV. Keith and I both went to the MFA program at UNLV, but at the time, all the actors really focused on dramatic roles. So we really had no other choice but to put on our directing hats. Well, I mean, we didn't. How long did we fight that for, though?
A long time.
Yeah, we did not want to do it.
Yeah, we were always hoping to produce and then find a director who shared our sense of humor, or sensibility. But it just never worked out. And then you get a little bit older, and you're like, all right, how many? It gets frustrating where you think you're writing solid scripts and they're not going anywhere. And I would say the Duplass brother.
Oh, the speech.
He gave a
South by Southwest.
Yeah, he gave a keynote address. I don't know if it was Mark. What's the other guy's name? Jay or Mark? I think it's Mark. So Mark Duplass, he gave a keynote speech at South by Festival, and it was basically hey, just go make stuff. You got to go do it.
Yep.
And there were a few other moments like that where, like, okay, yeah, let's start filming stuff or writing stuff we can actually film ourselves, and because then as long as you enjoy the process, at the very least you have a product, you have something, you have something you made with your friends, and it even if it doesn't turn into a huge hit or anything, it's obviously, it's the destination, it's the journey, not the destination, that sort of mindset. But I think it was out of just frustration, where we had done well in the Blacklist, we had done well in Austin, we had won a few screenwriting competitions, and it just led to nothing.
Yeah.
And we also got the sense that the studios weren't making a lot of comedies anymore.
That's true.
Yeah.
That it's kind of a dying breed where once the DVD market crashed, which is one of the reasons I originally moved to Hollywood, right? Because movies like Wedding Crashers and The Hangover, it was that, golden age of comedy when Ben Stiller, Judd Apatow, Adam McKay, who's it?
The Brat Pack, basically.
All that was going on at the same time, and now, you don't see Bridesmaids, you don't see any of it. But they say it's because comedy doesn't translate overseas. I think America and Australia have a pretty, similar sensibility comedically, but I guess a lot, you can. The joke now is, all right, well, what's funny in America isn't funny in China, but if you blow up a building or you got someone with a gun, it makes sense in any language. So, which is why you see like F9 or the big action blockbusters.
Yeah, is that something that you guys would like to bring back as directors? That comedy golden days, because we all love comedy. Like, I think Australians are one of the biggest consumers of comedy in the world. Like, we have the Melbourne International Comedy Festival, and tickets are sold out within the first week that it's announced. Whenever there's a comedy at the cinema, it becomes a number one hit here. So is that something that you guys would like to try and bring back in Hollywood? Is that great comedy era?
Sure. I mean, it's the money people, though, right? Whoever has the money. I mean, it's unfortunately movies will always be a combination of art and commerce. So someone's got to cut the check. I mean, for Marathon was filmed on such a small budget. I mean, we'd love to have, God. I mean, even if you quadrupled the Marathon budget, it would still be technically a low budget film. But I mean, we feel like we could do so much with little that that'd be amazing. But the Australians, Aussies have great comedy. Summer Heights High, it's fantastic. Is it The Castle? The Castle is fucking hilarious. I mean, but they even say American comedy won't even translate to the UK now. So like no one's cutting checks for American comedies.
Yeah, I find that disgusting because I love comedy so much, and like you said, even shows like Summer Heights High, that's now banned here in Australia because of political correctness.
No way, real? Are you serious?
Yeah, they took it off Netflix. So Chris Lilly, who created Summer Heights High, he had some other shows as well that he'd made over the years, and they got put up on Netflix, and there was just an outcry, and it surprised me because when Summer Heights High came out a decade ago, it was the most watched television show in Australia. And yeah, within 10 years, it got put on Netflix, and there was such an outcry that Netflix ripped it down after about a week of being up there, and they ripped down all of Chris Lilly's other shows as well. So yeah, political correctness came into it, and yeah, unfortunately, it's gone now.
Oh, wow. I had no idea. I had absolutely no idea. That's awful. That's tragic.
Yeah, that was actually going to be my other question, because we're seeing that more and more here, where some of the great comedians of 10 years ago are now falling by the wayside because of political correctness. Is that one of the things that you think has happened with comedy in Hollywood as well, that people out there are a little bit afraid to make movies these days in case there is that backlash?
I mean, for us, we never set out to offend or
Yeah.
purposely, shock anyone. But it does seem like, maybe Taika out of New Zealand with Jojo Rabbit would be the counterexample. But I
Yeah.
know you're right. A lot of the other directors are going to different genres. Like the guy who's Joker.
Hangover, yeah.
Yeah, the guy, the director of, I think he did Road Trip and Hangover. Old School. Now he's doing the Joker.
Todd Phillips.
Yeah, Todd Phillips. You have Adam McKay, who's now doing
Oscar.
Right, he did The Big Short and Vice. So yeah, you see a lot of, and this could just be that they're doing projects that have money, right? They get greenlit because the studios know that there's no money in comedy. So maybe, I don't know, it could be the tail wagging, the dog, so to speak. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's a purposeful choice by comedians or if it's just, hey, I want to make something, and the only thing that the studios are going to put up the money for are the more serious films. But yeah, I would say Taika's still making.
Yeah, definitely. So where to now for you guys? Like, have you already started work on your next project?
Well, that's the biggest thing, right? Because it's so hard. I mean, this took us 3 years to make because it was basically just Keith and I editing. So we wrote it in 2017? Yeah,
we wrote it in 2017, shot it in 2018, and then spent 2 years. So I was in LA and Anthony was in Vegas. So we both had full-time jobs. So I would work, Monday through Friday, and then get in my car on Friday, drive to Vegas. And I probably did that 35 times over the course of 2 years.
We tried to outsource some things like sound, and every time we would get it, because we're on such a short budget, every time we would get it back, we would just have to end up redoing it ourselves anyways. So, so it's tough because we don't want to spend another 3 years making the next movie.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, we have other mockumentary ideas. I mean, in this style. I think this style, the mockumentary style, fits what we do well, which is, I'd say, story, jokes, and character. I mean, like our cinematography isn't gonna, we had very talented DPs, but we're not visually, stylistic directors. We're going for jokes for the most part. Quirky, quick-witted dialogue. But yeah, we have a couple. I mean, we have the one we had always talked about doing. There's a documentary called Hands on a Hard Body.
Oh yeah.
And it's a real documentary, I think, set in Texas. And the premise is it's one of those small town Texas. Everyone, radio station promo, like 10 winners to this radio contest. They all show up at a used car lot or a car lot, and they're going to give away a truck. And the winner of the truck is just basically the person who keeps their hand on the truck the longest. And that's the documentary. I forget how many hours it goes. I think they almost get up to
almost 90.
Yeah, 90 or so. But we would something like that, small, contained mockumentary with just a bunch of, funny, talented improvisers around a vehicle. We were going to do it with a Lambo.
Awesome. Well, we would definitely love to see that. That would be an absolutely fantastic film to see. And I guess, guys, to finish off, is there anything you would like to say to our listeners out there before they get a chance to sit down and watch Marathon?
Oh, man, that's a good question. Have a beer, maybe?
Yep.
Beer always makes it funnier. Beer and popcorn.
Awesome. Well, guys, thank you so much for chatting to us today. It's been an absolute pleasure. I know a lot of Aussies are going to absolutely love Marathon, and I know a lot of our US listeners will as well. So I want to say congratulations on such a funny, fantastic, creative film, and we can't wait to see what you guys work on next.
All right, Dave. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Dave. This has been great.